Questa è una delle interviste che sono riuscita a fare nel recente viaggio in Israele. L'ho registrata all'interno del kibbutz Kfar Aza, che per capirci è qui, è proprio a pochi chilometri di distanza dal kibbutz Be'eri, che probabilmente è quello che più spesso avete sentito nominare. La persona che parla è il portavoce di Zaka. Zaka è l'associazione che si occupa del recupero dei cadaveri, dell'analisi dei corpi, del test del DNA e a seguito del massacro del 7 ottobre anche del test del carbonio 14, perché esistono dei resti che sono talmente tanto arsi che non è possibile fare nemmeno il test del DNA. Ovviamente la testimonianza è molto importante da ascoltare e anche da ricondividere. Se avete degli amici filo-palestinesi, mandategli questo video. E se anche dopo aver ascoltato i contenuti che questa persona condivide con noi, che peraltro è una minimissima parte di tutto quello che è successo nei kibbutz, dovessero rispondervi: ma le terre occupate, ma l'apartheid, cambiate amici. Ciao, grazie mille.
Okay, guys, I'm going to start. Okay, my name is Simcha Graineman. I'm a volunteer in Zaka organization. I'm here from Simchat Torah. I got a call especially from the army saying that they need me. My unit in the army is bringing evidence for bodies. Zaka stands for a special unit of volunteers. We deal with bodies in different situations in the country on daily basis. Car accidents, fires in houses, or any tragic ways. We deal with the bodies. Make sure that they get to burial and take care of everything that's involved. As I said, I'm here from Simchat Torah. I came to all these kibbutzim. I collected bodies from different places. I'll tell you a few stories, and then if you want to ask any questions, I'll answer whatever I know. Okay? I came to kibbutz Be'eri. It was Monday. We came into one of the houses, and when I walked into the main door, there was a birthday cake sitting on the table. When you see a birthday cake, when you walk into some house or some place, you right away think there's a party or that something happy happened in this house. So right away, your eyes look for pictures. I right away looked at the fridge, and I saw pictures of the family members in that house. But that was not the purpose I came. I didn't come to eat cake. I came to take care of bodies, and the hard smell of burned bodies was coming from the back room. Walked into the back room, and what we saw was something that we couldn't understand, a situation like that. The room was pitch dark. The windows were closed. It was the safe room, but it was burned down totally. What we saw over there in the middle of the room were standing, leaning on each other, 5 members of the family. It looked like a bonfire, something like that. But when we looked closer, I put on my flashlight, I saw 2 little kids hugging their parents' legs. They were burned, so the arms and everything, whatever, all their bones were wrapped around their parents' legs. And the parents were leaning with the grandmother that was living in the same house. All 3 of them were leaning at each other. Their heads were leaning one towards each other. As a Zaka member, we took all those bodies, we put them in the bags, and we were walking by the fridge and the birthday cake every time, walking out of that room, seeing again and again those faces of those members of that family. You need to understand that daily basis that we deal with different things, tragedies, is one thing. But when you see a whole family that was raised out of this world, no one's left from that family to continue living and your heart rips out. You can't understand what happened over here. Friday afternoon, I got a special call to come back to Be'eri. I went for Shabbat to stay with my family. I'm married, I have kids, I have grandchildren. And I came to a special mission where I was called for a special mission behind Be'eri on the border between Be'eri and the gate. And when I came there around 11 o'clock in the morning, I was told you can't get close to the gate because it was massive shooting and it was too much going around over there. So I went around to collect more bodies to see if there's any remains left. And I was told that there's a house that was burned down. That house you can walk in, you can take care of whatever you want to take care of. And when I came to that house, in the hallway, at the end of the hallway, there was a small lump on one of the rooms. I told my guys, let's pick up the cement over there. It was a small ceiling of cement. Zaka, there was a lump of cement. That lump of cement, we picked it up and we found there a body of a child. That was one lump. On the other side was another lump in that one. The first room was a child around between 5 and 6 years old. The second room was a child who was between 3 and 4 years old. According to his drawer, that's the way that we check to see the age of the child. But that child had a knife stuck through his head from side to side. And there was a hammer with a piece of skull of that child on the floor next to that child. People ask me all the time, did you see bodies? Did you see beheaded bodies? Yes, I dealt with bodies, and I dealt with heads, and I dealt with different parts of bodies. People ask me, did you see any horrific things of rapes? I said, yes. I walked into a house in Be'eri, and there was a woman leaning on her own bed. She was shot from the back of her head. But when we turned her over, she was half naked. When we turned her over to lay her down on the floor to put her into the bag, she had a grenade, an open grenade in her hand. And then the guy asked me, did you see that they raped her? I said, listen, if I'm not stupid enough to ask that question, but that's the answer that I told him. If you see a woman half naked leaning on her own bed, holding a grenade in her hand that she shouldn't move when she was raped, that's not a question, did she get raped or not? How many bodies did we find that were naked? How many different things that guys from my unit, from Zaka, took care of people and families, and we saw horrific things? There's no question that the world has to understand what happened over here around Gaza area is something that the world has to know, and we have evidence for everything. We have pictures for every scene that we dealt. My own hands. Everything I'm telling you are things that I personally took care of. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you pass it on to the world. We'll continue walking down that way.